We're ready, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Good afternoon. Call to order the committee of the whole meeting for Monday, June 3rd, 2024. We'll all rise and salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Dr. Kelly, would you call the roll?
Go ahead.
Mrs. Bronston Rizzo.
Here.
Mr. Caggiano.
Here.
Mr. Kingston.
Here.
Mr. Matera.
Here.
Miss Milbury Ellis.
Present.
Miss Monterosso.
Here.
Mayor Keefe.
Here. So, good afternoon, everyone. Today we are discussing the Ways and Means Subcommittee. So we have the budget to go over, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to request that the chairman for the Ways and Means presents the budget.
We're gonna open up the hearing first, Mayor, and see
Okay.
if there's any speakers, if you wanna open that up, and then we'll pass it over.
Okay, great. So,
If you want, I
As
can
a-
read the notice of public hearing that was in the newspaper for the last 2 weeks, if that's helpful.
would you care to read that for me, Dr. Kelly?
Sure. This notice has been in the Revere Journal and the Revere Advocate for the last 2 weeks now. It states, notice is hereby given in accordance with the provisions of Section 38N of Chapter 71 of the Massachusetts General Laws that the Revere School Committee will conduct a public hearing on Monday, June 3rd, 2024, at 3 p.m. in the Emmanuel M. Ferranti School Committee Room and via Zoom, located on the first floor of Revere High School, 101 School Street, relative to the Revere Public Schools proposed fiscal year 2024-2025 school operating budget. All interested persons will be given the opportunity to be heard for or against the whole or any part of the proposed budget. And I will just make note that there are no members of the public present in the school committee room. And I don't see anybody on the Zoom other than the school committee members.
Well, thank you, Dr. Kelly. So at this point in time during the open meeting, I would like to open it up to anyone in the viewing audience and or on Zoom to any opponents wishing to speak. Okay, seeing and hearing none, we're going to close that side of the hearing. And this time we open this up to any proponents in the audience or digital audience as well. Wishing to speak?
Mr. Mayor, if I could speak as a proponent for just a moment. I can say that our team, especially Mr. Cruz, who's our CFO, has done unbelievable work along with the school committee, especially the subcommittee on Ways and Means, who has been very helpful to us throughout this process. Our budget this year was not the same kind of enormous increase that we saw in previous years. It was still an increase, which is great. But after we take into account the new costs of level services due to inflation and everything else, and we pull in a number of staff members that we had previously been funding under our ESSER grants, which have now gone away, we had very little room to play with. We did prioritize increasing staffing at the middle school level, the continued reorganization of our special education services program, an increase in staffing for our English learner programs, strengthening our early childhood program with a large grant investment for the McKinley building, and also with the hiring of a director of the early childhood programs, and finally, the purchase or the lease of portable classrooms to alleviate the overcrowding at Revere High School. I'm very much in favor of this budget. I feel like it's responsible and still meets the priorities and needs of the school district.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kelly. Do we have any other proponents in the audience or on digital and or in person wishing to speak? Okay. Do not see any or hear any. So seeing and hearing none, we're going to close that side of the hearing. And also we have committee members. I know that Chairman Kingston chaired the Ways and Means Subcommittee, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kingston.
I would just like to thank Mr. Cruz and his staff and central office and their staff for all their hard work on the budget. I concur with Dr. Kelly. I think it's a good document, and I'm looking forward to voting on the series. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kingston. And I assume the budget that's being presented this evening was approved favorably by the chair, by the committee?
Yes, it was.
Great. And just for the viewing audience, this is slightly a special meeting, although advertised in time. With the purpose to have this additional committee meeting was to ensure that when the budget is presented to the city council, that we actually had an approved budget presented to the city council, rather than have a kind of an unapproved budget going in front of them. So this was getting everyone together to vote on the budget before the city council had a chance to see it, which is good practice. So any other committee members? I can't see you all personally, but if anyone has anything to add on the budgetary process before we go down the list and have Mr. Cruz?
Mr. Chair, may I be recognized?
Ms. Monterosso?
I think I just wanted to echo everyone's sentiments. We're currently, the Commonwealth, I see in the news every day different districts have deficits or cutting staff or letting people go, but we have such a strong district, and our CFO and our district team and our Ways and Means Subcommittee just year after year have really helped this district excel to meet the needs of our students in our schools. So in an area where we really are becoming outliers and being financially sustainable and good stewards of our resources, I just want to thank our team for bringing us through another budget cycle.
Great comments. Let's move on to us. Any other committee members wishing to speak? No? Okay. Mr. Cruz?
I'm actually handing that over to Mr. Kingston to lead the actual vote of the committee.
Yes. We'll be voting in series. I'll give out the numbers for that particular series, and then we'll vote on them one by one. The only thing I'd like to add is there may be a particular series that some school committee members can't vote on. It doesn't necessarily mean they don't agree with it. It's due to a conflict that they may not be able to vote on it. I just want to make that clear to the viewing public. Thank you.
Thank you for your clarity.
Series 1000, administration, salary, $2,486,218. Non-salary, $1,261.599. All those in favor of appropriating those amounts in salary and non-salary expense for administration?
John, can you just also read the total for each of the series? It's all the way to the right. So that we get the salary, non-salary, and then for a total. Great.
Total of $3,747,817.
Okay, so we're on Zoom. We need a roll call, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
And we do anyway for that amount of money.
So moved?
Second,
Mrs. Bronston Rizzo,
yes.
Mr. Caggiano,
Yes.
Mr. Kingston,
Yes.
Mr. Matera,
Yes.
Mrs. Milbury Ellis,
Yes.
Ms. Monterosso,
Yes.
Mayor Keefe.
Yes.
Series 2000, instructional services. Salary, $79,111,238. Non-salary, $4,299,366 for a total of $83,410,604. So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Bronston.
I'm sorry. I think someone else has to make that motion. Oh,
Motion to approve?
second.
Mrs. Bronston Rizzo,
Not voting?
Mr. Caggiano,
Yes.
Mr. Kingston,
Not voting.
Mr. Matera,
Yes. No,
Not voting.
excuse me, not voting.
Mrs. Milbury Ellis,
Yes.
Mrs. Monterosso,
Yes.
Mayor Keefe.
Yes.
Series 3000, other student services. Salary, $5,182,661. Non-salary, $8,643,013 for a total of $13,825,674. So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Bronston Rizzo,
Yes.
Mr. Caggiano,
Yes.
Mr. Kingston,
Yes.
Mr. Matera,
Yes.
Mrs. Milbury Ellis,
Yes.
Miss Monteroso,
Yes.
Mayor Keefe.
Yes.
Series 4,000, operation of plant and maintenance. Salary, $2,660,236. Non-salary, $7,071,472, for a total of $9,731,708. So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Bronston Rizzo,
Yes.
Mr. Caggiano,
Yes.
Mr. Kingston,
Yes.
Mr. Matera,
Yes.
Mrs. Milbury Ellis,
Yes.
Miss Monteroso,
Yes.
Mayor Keefe.
Yes.
Series 5,000, employee benefits and insurance. Salary, $276,500. Non-salary, $1,098,750, for a total of $1,375,250.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Bronston Rizzo,
Not voting?
Mr. Caggiano,
Yes.
Mr. Kingston,
Yes.
Mr.
No,
Matera.
sorry, I'll just have people track their own conflict of interest, but if someone has a,
Can we have Mr. Cruz speak on this? He
Yes.
just said something, I'm sorry, I should have addressed that to the committee members who were on the YouTube, but he gave us some
Sure.
instruction just before the meeting started. If you could repeat that for those on the YouTube.
In your approval of the 5,000 series, you're not dealing with pension or health insurance items. Those funds are being appropriated by the council and held back from your appropriation. So the only items here are things like retirement incentives, sick leave buyback, unemployment workers' compensation. So you're most likely free to vote on the series.
Thank you.
Unless you're retired.
So I believe the motion was made by Mrs. Monteroso and seconded by Mr. Kingston. And can we just do the roll call again?
Mrs. Bronston Rizzo,
Yes.
Mr. Caggiano,
Yes.
Mr. Kingston,
Yes.
Mr. Matera,
Yes.
Mrs. Milbury Ellis,
Yes.
Miss Monteroso,
yes.
Mayor Keefe.
Yes.
Series 7,000, building improvements. Salary is 0, non-salary 100,000, for a total of 100,000. So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Bronston Rizzo,
Here.
Mr. Caggiano,
Yes.
Mr. Kingston,
Yes.
Mr. Matera,
Yes.
Mrs. Milbury Ellis,
Yes.
Miss Monteroso,
Yes.
Mayor Keefe.
Yes.
Series 9,000, programs with other schools. Salary is 0, non-salary $14,093,563, for a total of $14,093,563. So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Bronston Rizzo,
Yes.
Mr. Caggiano,
Yes.
Mr. Kingston,
Yes.
Mr. Matera,
Yes.
Mrs. Milbury Ellis,
Yes.
Mrs. Monteroso,
Yes.
Mayor Keefe.
Yes.
The school department total budget. Salary, $89,716,853. Non-salary, $36,567,763, for a total budget of $126,284,616. So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Bronston Rizzo,
Yes.
Mr. Caggiano,
Yes.
Mr. Kingston,
Yes.
Mr. Matera,
Yes.
Mrs. Milbury Ellis,
Yes.
Miss Monteroso,
Yes.
Mayor Keefe.
Yes. Budget is passed.
No.
Motion to adjourn.
No?
Thank you all very much.
Motion to adjourn? There's nothing else.
I don't believe there's anything else on the agenda.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman?
Second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Bronston Rizzo,
Yes.
Mr. Caggiano,
Yes.
Mr. Kingston,
Yes.
Mr. Matera,
Yes.
Mrs. Milbury Ellis,
Yes.
Miss Monteroso,
Yes.
Mayor Keefe.
Yes. We will adjourn until the next scheduled meeting. Thank you very much to the subcommittee and all the members for attending, getting this budget through.
Thank you,
Have a
sir.
good afternoon, everyone.